He weighed in right on the button at 147 pounds. Luis Collazo, 146.2 for Keith one-time Thurman. I am T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live with RealCombatMedia.com, and I cover every single major fight live. So let's talk about what people want to talk about. Right now, it's July the 10th, 2015. Keith Thurman and Luis Collazo just stepped off the scales. In fact, I'm wondering if I should let you hear both of their interviews, but it's not really worth it. People are asking why Luis Collazo. Well, Amir Khan, Floyd Mayweather, who else? Marcos Maidana, and pretty much the list goes on. Sean Porter, Adrian Broner were already in the fight. And Keith Thurman said in a recent interview that he was only presented with one name. Now, normally, he said he's presented with multiple names, but he was only presented with one name, and that one name of a fighter that would fight him was named Luis Collazo. Now, if you don't know how the Al Heyman system works, Al Heyman, thank you, Free Boxing for All. If you don't know how the Al Heyman system works, what I hear is he'll put 5 names, and I'm just saying an arbitrary number, he'll put 5 names in front of you, and he'll say, do you want to fight this guy? It's up to the fighter to say, nah. Oh, yeah. Do you want to fight this guy? Nah. Do you want to fight this guy? Nah. Do you want to fight this guy? Yeah, I'll fight him. Now, how this works against guys like Danny Garcia is, it's like, well, did you pick Rod Soka, or did Al Heyman pick Rod Soka for you? So when it comes to Luis Collazo, in this case, Keith Thurman is saying, and he's known to be a pretty honest boxer, he's saying that he was only presented with one name, and that one name was Luis Collazo. So that's why we're getting Luis Collazo on the debut of ESPN, well, PBC on ESPN, July the 11th, 2015, down in Tampa, Florida. Once again, I'm T Street Controversy. And now the question is, people are thinking this. Let me tell you what people are thinking. People are thinking that if Keith Thurman wins, that somehow he's going to be fighting Floyd Mayweather. Well, what is he going to have, like a 7-week, 6-week camp? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So in my opinion, count him out of the Floyd Mayweather sweepstakes. Now, I would love to see Keith Thurman and Floyd Mayweather A-side, Floyd Mayweather and Keith Thurman square off. But let's be honest with each other, fans. Let's be honest with each other. Now, with the political landscape in boxing, and when it comes to Floyd Mayweather having to produce numbers, we're going to talk about that in a separate video. He may be fighting on CBS. We're going to talk about it. Keith Thurman just does not make sense for him right now. If you look at what the position that Keith Thurman has been put in, Keith Thurman is, he's headlined the first ever Premier Boxing Champion card ever against Robert Guerrero, in which he defeated. And I said on multiple occasions before the Robert Guerrero fight, I'm kind of iffy on Keith Thurman because he hasn't fought anybody. And I said to myself, as long as he beats, well, if he beats Robert Guerrero, then I know that he's a legitimate contender and he's a legitimate star on the rise. He's not yet. Yes, he has the mic skills. Yes, he can sell his fights. Yes, he has the skills. And yes, fans love him, which is one of the reasons why he's headlining another Premier Boxing Champion card debut. So remember, he debuted the main event of the first PBC card ever. He's debuting the first PBC card on ESPN. In my opinion, he's getting a lot. Now, even though he's not getting the big names he wants, he's being pushed into the spotlight. Now, fights against Leonard Bundu, okay. Fights against Julio Diaz, okay. Fights against Diego Chavez, who was giving him some work before he got stopped, okay. But now, after Luis Collazo, he has to have another big fight. Now, with the way things are going, remember, he fought March the 7th. Now he's fighting again July the 11th. So that leads me to believe that he's going to fight again sometime in October, maybe November, maybe December. 3 fights this year, who knows? Maybe they can squeeze in 4 fights. But we know one thing for sure is his next fight is likely going to be a big fight. What big fight? We don't know. But all I got to say is this. I'm a Keith Thurman Jr. fan. I'm a Keith Thurman Jr. supporter. And I see that he does have the skills. And also, shout out to our video reporters, Zoe and Chris Alexander, who have been giving us little bits and pieces of the personality of Keith Thurman, because I had to edit a lot of that footage, especially from the stuff that Zoe got from Broner versus Porter. Put it this way. If you haven't watched Keith Thurman interviews, Keith Thurman is a very smart fighter. He's a hippie. I guess you could say he's a hippie, but he's a very smart like fighter. You can tell he knows what he's talking about when it comes to, you know, the skills, you know, damn camera. When it comes to the sweet science. But I say this. Luis Collazo, yes, he lost to Amir Khan. Luis Collazo, yes, he had tough fights with Andre Berto and Ricky Hatton. Some people say he could have or should have won those fights. But looking at him now, look at the way he got beat by Amir Khan, I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be a good fight for PBC ESPN opener because there's a good chance Luis Collazo may get stopped. But at the same time, Luis Collazo is not a fighter you can necessarily count out. Yes, he's over the hill, but he's not a fighter you can necessarily count out. And from my understanding, if Keith Thurman is telling the truth, as I said earlier in the video, nobody wants to fight him. Now all of a sudden Amir Khan is backtracking and saying, oh yeah, well, I'll fight him. Then it's like, why haven't you yet? Who knows? We will find out sometime in the next week. As I said, right now it's 6:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, July the 10th, 2015. We will find out within the next several days who Floyd Mayweather is going to be fighting. And maybe it's a marketing ploy for, or something for Floyd to not announce who he's fighting until after Keith Thurman fights. So therefore fans can have, you know, maybe a little bit of hope that it may be Keith Thurman, but it's not going to be. I am T-Street Controversy with RealCombatMedia.com. We just recruited some new people down in Orlando, Florida. Also, if you're interested in covering fights in your area, if you know how to write, and if you can send me a detailed email on your goals, your aspirations, and what you want to do for the sport of boxing. I get a whole lot of emails. Oh yeah, T-Street, what's the pay like, and what kind of job is this going to be? Listen. If you want to type of people where you don't want to help the sport of boxing, or you don't see yourself, put it this way. Just send me a detailed email with your goals, your aspirations, and what you want to do for the sport. We're doing a little bit of a movement right now. I look at what I'm doing as Game of Thrones for boxing. It's not going to be too long, maybe before we capture King's Landing. T-Street Controversy, RealCombatMedia.com. Please subscribe.